I'm Jake.
And I'm Marlin.
AKA Gee. And we just got out of seeing Joker. Folie a Dukes, or Joker 2 just to simplify it, in the cinema, and it was quite a ride. I think that's the most appropriate thing to say after seeing it.
Yes, it was quite a ride. What they wanted to do, I think they did very well. I'm not sure I would have wanted to do it all the way that they did, but the technical and the way they went about their story, they stuck to a very deliberate presentation. I think very professional.
Yeah, like this film was announced maybe 2 years ago, and they were bringing everybody back. Todd Phillips is director, Joaquin Phoenix, and they were gonna do the interesting choice of making it a musical, which, like, everybody, I'm like, the fuck? But same time, like, I'll see where this goes. And as far as being a musical, wrote down questions just to ask later. Is the music woven into the film well? For the most part, I think it was in a way that made sense. What about you?
Yes, I thought they used it very well. They used it in the development of the characters. The romantic aspect of the movie the music was very important. Joaquin Phoenix, I'm not sure he's a great singer, but he did well. And of course, Lady Gaga is a great singer, and it balanced very well, I think.
I think Joaquin Phoenix, because he is a singer outside of being an actor.
Okay.
I think he did very well. Like, in the character is supposed to be grating and off-putting, but for that type of singing, he did it very well. And Lady Gaga, who I've heard a song or two from her, but I couldn't name a song by her to save my life. But she did really well here, not just as a singer, but acting-wise. And the brief summarization of the plot is, it takes place a few years after the first. The Joker's on trial. He's in a mental hospital. And while in the hospital, he meets and falls in love with another patient who is obsessed with him and what he did in the first film. And she's played by Lady Gaga, and they give her the name Lee, but the character is basically supposed to be this version of Harley Quinn. And just as before, these movies are not connected to any of the current DC films, like Batman, Man of Steel. They're their own little entity.
Yes, they've created their own world to the extent that it goes to match up with the first movie by Joaquin Phoenix playing the role of Arthur Fleck, the Joker. Maybe that's a connection, but this thing is almost a standalone.
And how are Joaquin and Lady Gaga together? I love them together. They had great chemistry almost from the beginning, and they jump into it pretty fast, but I find that if you keep in mind that these are two people who are clearly not all that in touch with reality, their bizarre romance makes a lot of sense and is pretty easy to kind of get into.
Not in touch with reality, and they're indifferent to reality. They don't care.
And that's a big part of how the music works, because majority of them are either in his or her head, both. And there are a few moments where they do spontaneously start singing, and appropriately the people around them are like, huh? Which was funny. And there are a few jokes, but for the most part, yeah, it's still dark and serious.
Yeah, this is not happy tunes.
Yeah, this is a sad, like the first one was sad, but this is a extra level of fucking depressing. And I'm not sure. Like the first one had its darkness, but you could come out of it feeling like you were satisfied. This is another level of depressing that's just may leave you feeling a bit unsure. And before we get to some of that without giving too much away, because no spoilers with this dude, do you think it was a worthy follow-up to the first one?
It's where they took it. I was surprised at. Again, no spoilers. But the worthy. It was a well done effort. I'm not sure that people who are franchise fanatics, the people who read the stories and are all part of it and are really tied to it, if this is going to be something that they're going to embrace. I just don't know.
I thought it was a good, for the most part, follow-up. Like, if you wanted to see more of Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck, you get it. And Lady Gaga, she adds something very new and special that does separate it from the first. And visual-wise, with all the musical numbers that are in their heads, there is some great, it's definitely a send up to the classic musicals of, say, 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
And they have those set designs that do look fake, but at the same time have a bit of charm to them, like you'd see in the classic musicals.
Yes.
It's like a stage set put on film, and I enjoyed it, especially when they did the walking in the middle of water type stuff. And as for the supporting cast, most of the supporting cast did well. Pretty much they all did well. The two main new additions are Brendan Gleeson and Catherine Keener. She plays Arthur Fleck's lawyer, and she's not in it a lot, but she is probably the closest thing to something pleasant in this movie. Like, genuinely pleasant and not deranged. We've seen her in other stuff. She was the mother with the teacup in Get Out.
Okay.
And Brendan Gleeson, he plays a abusive guard at the mental hospital, and he's a good actor. He's done a whole type of different roles. He was Mad-Eye Moody in the Harry Potter movies.
Ah, yes.
Or Mooney, whatever.
Yeah.
And he can play a mean bastard pretty well.
But the character he's a good guy as long as, people are cooperating with him. You get the non-cooperation, you get the non-good guy.
Yeah, I thought he was just
He gets grim.
I thought he was just a mean Irish cunt most of the time, but he played it well. And as for... It's really hard to talk about this movie because you don't want to give away too much, but there are surprises that come throughout the film all the way up to the end, and I liked a lot of this movie. The parts that I could say I didn't care for was that scene where he's in the courtroom, Joaquin Phoenix, and he's putting on that goofy voice. I mean, I know Arthur Fleck acts real fucking goofy, but even for a film like this, I thought that was a bit dumb.
Every moment can't be a good moment, yes.
Most of the songs are well woven, but there was one or two moments where maybe they went on a little unnecessary. Like they had one song too many at certain points.
Yeah, they were very deliberate and dedicated to having the mood or the energy of the scenes be directed or established by the songs. And as things begin to change back and forth, then that did get a little heavy, a little slow.
And I'm not going to say what the ending was,
Good.
but I will say, personally, I didn't like it. It just, I'm not saying it needed a happier ending.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, maybe not one that just, like, felt like I got smacked in the face with a fucking brick. It's not personally what I would have wanted to have seen, but, like, it almost feels like the ending was written by the character Harvey Dent himself. That's just how out of left field it felt, but I don't know, maybe this was just Todd Phillips' idea of doing the final go before things could be stretched out too much longer. It's just my take on it.
Yeah, the ending is pretty much unexpected. They set up the thing for you, and very casually almost, and you thought it was going to be one thing, and it ended up be something completely different. And in the finality of it just surprised me.
I wouldn't say the film Stephen King'd its ending, but it may have M. Night Shyamalan'd it a little. Not in a twist way, but just in a, really? That's what you fucking did? But regardless, I do think it's worth seeing. Maybe not everybody will take the ending the same way I did, but overall, it's a spectacle of a film that I think is kind of like Megalopolis. It's worth seeing on the big screen.
Yeah.
And if the first film was a 5 out of 5 star movie for me, this one's, I think, a 3.5. Like, it's pretty well done, but that ending, man, just... And do you have any last thoughts to give?
I was asked as I was coming out of the theater by the ticket seller, "Did you enjoy it?" I said, "I'm not sure yet." But what they intended to do, I thought they did very well, very professionally, but I'm not sure it's the kind of movie I'm not going to see it when it comes out in DVD and do it again, or they don't do that anymore. I'm not going to stream it.
I'll get it on DVD. I'm a physical media guy. And I guess if there's any last question I need to ask you, it's this. As far as films with Joaquin Phoenix, where the line between what's real and what isn't becomes blurred, was it better than Beau is Afraid?
You can ask me that, I think, about any movie I have seen other than Beau is Afraid, or that I will see. I think there is probably no movie that isn't. Even the worst other movie, not better than Beau is Afraid.
I would watch this 10 times in a row over seeing Beau is Afraid again, and...
I mean, if the gun was to my head, yeah, that would be the choice I'd make.
Regardless, it is worth seeing. I've been seeing a little chatter online that this film is very divisive, and I can see why. Some saying they think it's terrible. I wouldn't go that far, just... the last 5 minutes kind of pull the rug out from you, but regardless, I recommend checking it out, and I'm glad we could watch it together.
Yes, I enjoyed it because we get to do this and bounce things off each other, yes.
See you again, hopefully soon, and enjoy October while you can.